Welcome to episode 7 of Star Wars Culture Live, a fairly new podcast focusing on Star Wars excitement and connection, your escape pod for hyperspace buzz and fandom fixes. I'm Ian, as always, and this is Marty, also as always, and we are still in our first era called A New Hype, if you will, since we're a somewhat new podcast enjoying the hype for a franchise and a fandom that's been around for 47 years. If you're on the internet at all, you know that Star Wars fans can get a little toxic and not really fun to be around, especially while they're discussing Star Wars. But that's not what this podcast is. This is where the fun begins. We want to talk about the things we love about Star Wars, how it enriches our lives, the things we love about the community, culture, fans, media, anything at all. So throughout the show or after the show, if you're watching this later or listening to this later, if you have anything for us, reactions, questions, requests, suggestions for future segments, anything at all, throw them in the comments and we will see what we can do. Or messages, I guess, message the Culture Slate pages. And don't forget to check us out on all the socials and on audio podcast sources too. We're now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts. If you leave us a 5-star review, you can leave a comment with it. And if you leave a question, we will read it on the air. Promise. I swear. But as always, we are going to start with host facts, quick fun facts about each host to help you get to know us a little bit better each episode. So, Marty, fun fact, take it away.
It's actually, I don't know if it's really fun or if it's just kind of sad. My first...
Great way to start off the show, Marty.
I don't know. I thought it's just very interesting considering, I am a huge Star Wars fan, but my first theatrical experience with Star Wars didn't happen during, the original trilogy because obviously I wasn't born. But I didn't even get to experience the prequel trilogy. My first experience in theaters was the Clone Wars movie in 2008. Like in theaters, that was my first experience.
Okay.
All right. And then when starting with and then Force Awakens came, that's all my wife and I have done. We've went to every single Star Wars movie that came out since. So it's kind of become a tradition now. But yeah, my first experience in theaters was the Clone Wars movie. And I loved it. A lot of people around me, not so much. I was part of the early fans of it before people started warming up to it.
Okay. All right. You redeemed yourself there at the end. That's good. Yeah, I remember I was a huge, this isn't my fun fact, I'm just responding to your fun fact. I was a huge, I had a problem with movies when I was a kid. I was a big scaredy cat, and like the big screen and the loud noises in the dark, I don't know if it was like some type of oversensitivity, I don't know. But saying that out loud, what I know about myself now, that actually makes a lot of sense. We'll come back to that later. In therapy, it's fine. But I was always scared of things like movie theaters and roller coasters when I was a kid. So I remember seeing Lion King, and I liked Lion King, but it was like scary and loud and things. And then like real movies, like I saw episode 1 in the theater, but I was terrified and I was really sad, when he was leaving his mom, and like it was just kind of like emotionally really hard for me. So I really had to work up to go see episode 2 in the theater. But I did, and it was awesome, and I was obsessed with Star Wars after that. So it was fine. We powered through, but yeah, that was I also have kind of a sad history with that a little bit. My fun fact is not Star Wars related at all, but my littlest kids and the big kids and I and my wife, we all love Bluey. Bluey is the greatest kids show in the history of kids shows, and I will debate that to the end of time. So I have a Bluey shirt. I thought about wearing it, but I didn't want to wear it without the explanation. So maybe next time I'll wear it, and now you'll know why. My toddler daughter, and I have matching Bluey jerseys. Bluey's amazing. There's a store that makes pretty authentic looking rugby jerseys. It's pretty fun. So anyway, that's the unrelated fun fact about me. So we will then move forward into our next segment, which we like to call the HoloNet News. So there's a couple things that happened. I know we didn't have a show last week, so there's a couple big things that came into play the last couple weeks. The first one has to relate to Jodie Turner-Smith, who played Anastasia in The Acolyte. So, Marty, you wanna chime in on this one?
Yeah, I'm just gonna paraphrase it because I thought I had my notes with me about this, but basically, she's now finally speaking up about how Disney had handled everything with The Acolyte, and basically everyone was, how all these so-called fans were just beating that show up left and right, and a lot of racist remarks, which really were unnecessary and uncalled for in so many ways. But nobody responded at Disney's side saying, "Hey guys, I mean, you can't be doing that." So all these actors, they're putting their lives day in and day out to try to produce a show that everyone would love. And now that it's been over for a while, we're probably not getting a season 2. I'm still fingers crossed that we're getting it, but Jodie finally spoke out about it and basically said, "Disney, you messed up. You didn't back us up in any way. Everyone was allowed to get away with all this."
Yep, I feel like they pride themselves as a company. They definitely project this outward image of like support and inclusivity and all that stuff. So when their pages are just filled with trolls like spouting racist stuff, or if actors and actresses DMs are filled with racist or homophobic stuff, yeah, I think if you're truly about that inclusivity and like Star Wars is for everyone life, then it's your duty as the overarching umbrella company to speak out about that. You make more in one day of Disney World admissions than any of this cost you. So like there's really no excuse for not coming out and being like, "Hey, this isn't cool." There's not and of course that would make the actors and actresses feel not supported, like just hung out to dry kind of. Yeah, and also if you're a Star Wars fan, like I don't care if you don't like a show or if you love a show or if you don't like a character, don't there's no reason for you to be messaging an actor or actress about their character or about especially like racism, sexism, homophobic stuff. Disgusting. It doesn't even have to do with the show. If you're crossing a line from fandom into just terrible human being if you do that. It's not about how good the show was or what you like about the character anymore. You're just being a garbage person. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Just rant about the show online all you want. Like your opinion may or may not be valid, but like as soon as you do that, you're just crossing a line down into the gutter, and it's not acceptable. It's not who we want. We disown you as a fan. Anyway,
I applaud her for finally speaking out about it. I'm just wondering who else will finally come, join her.
Yeah.
Like
I hope they, and if they are suffering in silence, like, and that's their choice to make, but I hope her words invigorate others who want to speak out. Because they really should not. They should not have to deal with that. Anyway, in other not quite happy Star Wars news, there is a lawsuit about Peter Cushing and the use of his likeness in Rogue One. Apparently, as we know, Rogue One did this CGI thing, which was really technically impressive. Just creating his character, Grand Moff Tarkin, and a young Leia, just completely with CGI, and it was really impressive. Like I could tell on the big screen, but when I watched it again at home, I was like, I mean, I could barely tell. If I didn't know, like I wouldn't necessarily notice right away. But apparently they did not get all the permissions that they needed in order to go through with this. So there's that. That's awkward.
Yeah, like who do they not contact? Like I felt like before they shot Rogue One and got all this done, they would have had every I dotted, every T crossed. Like, did someone out of the blue of the estate be like, "Hey, you forgot to ask me"? Like one person, maybe. Like, I mean, this has been going on for a while now. Like the movie's been out for a while now, and they're just now doing this.
Yeah,
Is it
I'm
because
not
it was more
sure.
successful?
I mean, I know, court proceedings take a while. I don't remember when did Rogue One come out?
16?
Man, 16, 17. Yeah, I know court proceedings take a long time. So I think I'm not surprised that it was a long time after, but 5 years after that does seem excessive. So I wonder what happened there. Maybe someone just noticed something that wasn't noticed before. But either way, it was an impressive technical job, but his character in Rogue One, or not Rogue One, his character in the original was fantastic. And I liked seeing him show up in the Clone Wars as well. He having a looking him up and reading about his character got me, because I was like, why is Darth Vader like not just like, why is he not just subservient to Darth Vader like everyone else? Like he told Vader to stop force choking somebody, and Vader did it. And I was like, why are you taking orders from this man? I thought Vader reported like only to the Emperor, but this man can be like, that's enough, release him. And Vader's like, okay. So it definitely made me interested in like the hierarchy of the Empire and their governors and things like that.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, yeah, like if you're going to control a giant area, you have to have people who already are in control of that area cooperating, or lieutenants and governors and I don't know, lords and vassals that handle certain areas. And the last thing here for the news segment is much more uplifting. There is a documentary on John Williams, music by John Williams, coming out on Disney Plus. Maybe it's out already. I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to see it yet, but that I'm sure when I watch it, that will be fantastic.
Oh yeah,
all these franchises.
I'm looking forward to it.
Like Harry Potter, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, none of those movies would be what they are without his music. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that.
I feel like it's this guy's definitely needs like a dedication documentary like this. I mean, this guy, like you said, he's done a whole lot of those, and he's come to the point where I feel like, but without even reading who the composer is for certain movies, I feel like I can kind of guess if it's a John Williams just based on just his certain patterns of instruments he uses. But
oh yeah, he's got a vibe for sure.
And then you also should include like he's the biggest composer for, I would say, everyone's, maybe not everyone's, but it's one of my favorite Christmas movies, and it's the first and second one, Home Alone.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
he's the composer for Home Alone.
He's the composer for Home Alone. It's the first, the first two collaborations with Chris Columbus, who did Harry Potter. So,
yep,
when he works with people, he definitely works with them.
Yep. Wow. All right. Well, that's incredible. I learned something today. Put that in the trivia. Oh my God. All right. So anyway, that's your news. We're gonna move on to Marty's segment on this day in Star Wars history. I guess we do need to, sometimes I pulled up a photo here, but we do need to make sure now, for you audio listeners, we will describe if we are putting stuff up on the screen, because we do that, and we started out as just a video podcast, and I was listening back to it the other day, and I was like, man, if I didn't know what they were talking about, I would have no idea what they were talking about. So we will, if we bring up something on the screen, we will describe it. But anyway, on this day in Star Wars history, take it away, Marty.
All right. So today, this was actually kind of fun, nice. Today, October 9th, 2007, the Jedi Training Academy begins training younglings at Disney Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World, Florida.
That's
And
awesome.
I've seen videos on YouTube back when this thing first started and all that. I was super jealous. I couldn't go. Like that's something I've always wanted to do. And then apparently you had pop-ups by Vader and Darth Maul. I'm sure people have seen the video of this little girl bowing to Vader instead of fighting him.
What a hero!
At one of those, right? And the Jedi trainer is like, no, you're supposed to fight him. She's like, no, but yeah.
She's like, I know my side. I know who I serve.
Oh yeah.
For the
And if you
glory
don't
of the Emperor.
and that stage right there is also used. It might be up on a later on the stage trivia fact, but that stage on this thing on this photo here is where they've done like the challenge, like not the challenge, but like the dance competitions where they have Darth Vader, stormtroopers, all these other characters dancing to like popular hits. And
Now
it's just
that I have
hilarious.
definitely seen, because there are GIFs, however you want to pronounce it, of that I use regularly, of Darth Vader and stormtroopers just dancing on stage. And I agree, it's definitely that stage. So yeah, that's awesome.
Sometimes when I need a laugh pick me up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yep, that's today in Star Wars history, October 9th, 2007.
Boom. Yeah, that's great. That may or may not be the year that I graduated high school. Definitely not going into detail there. All right, so the top 3 for this week is a little different. Instead of something out in the world of Star Wars, we're gonna do a top 3 of things that are that are in our homes. So we're doing our top 3 favorite pieces of Star Wars, like memorabilia or Star Wars things that we own. And this was really funny when we found out that 2 of the things we picked were almost identical. So I'm going to start. And the first thing that, let me pull it up here. The first thing that I'm making number 3 on my list is this, as we know from a former fun fact about me, I play fantasy football. And last year, I was fortunate but unfortunate enough to make it to 2 championships. And I play in some money leagues. And I didn't win, but getting second place in 2 money leagues was enough to, in the darkness of sadness, the depths of despair that I was in, losing both championships. What made me feel better was this purchase. I got the Star Wars Lego Venator class Star Destroyer from my local Lego store, and it is awesome. It is huge. I forget how many pieces. I can look this up. Hold on. How many pieces? 5,374 pieces, and it is no joke. If you are watching, it is up there displayed on the top of that cabinet. It's about, I'm going to say 3 feet long, and it took months of different sessions to build. I think it was like 56 bags of pieces or something, but it's really cool details. The middle doesn't quite open up, I don't think, for like the fighters to fly out, but there are parts that move. They have a little, I don't know if you can see, like in the middle here, they have like a tiny little Republic gunship in the hangar, and the engines, like you saw over there, really cool looking from the back. The attention to detail on where all the turrets and like all the red paint on the outside is, it's just you get Admiral Yularen as a Lego minifig, along with Captain Rex. And yeah, I didn't mean to start collecting Star Wars Lego minifigs, but I think I am now. So that's just something that I'm gonna have to deal with. So there you get an idea for the scale of it. Pair of headphones over there. That's the ship. So yeah, that's my number 3. Definitely something that if my house was on fire and everybody was safe, I would consider. going back and forth. Don't tell my wife. Oh, sorry. Anyway, all right. Marty, hit me up. What's your number 3?
All right. So my number 3, make sure everyone hears it, is this lightsaber. I got it for my birthday this year, I think. It's not nobody in particular. It's actually one of those that you can get on Amazon, but it's really cool. And I don't know if you guys can see the color. It's supposed to be yellow. And I have
kind of.
Yeah, it's a little.
The lighting is weird. That's all. Oh yeah, that's better. It's lighting up the wall behind. We can see. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. And for the audio, I'm gonna put it up to this thing just loud. It sounds like Kylo Ren's crackling saber.
Yes.
But yeah, this is I got this for my birthday from my dad, and I love it. I take it out every now and then, swing it around, listening to it. And I chose yellow. Like, you could choose between different colors, but I chose yellow just because you don't see a whole lot of yellow lightsabers, and I love the sound of Kylo Ren's. So I was like, I got to put this combination together.
Yep. Nope. I agree with you on that. Kylo Ren's lightsaber. It was weird at first when we first saw it in the trailer, but then like when you learned about like why it sounds like the way it does, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
That will be in a later discussion on this episode. Yeah. So in that same vein, my next item is again lightsabers. I for Nerdiest Stepdad, I often do collaborations, like video collaborations with lightsaber companies, which entails them sending me lightsabers, and I make videos about them. It's awesome. They're generally like NeoPixel. I think yours was too. They which means like it's not baselit, like it doesn't shine light up through the blade. It's like there's little data readers inside the blade, and so it lights up evenly throughout the whole blade, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was a huge game changer for the lightsaber prop community. But these are just 2 that I got from one of a collab. They're from the Acolyte. This is Souls, and this is Indara's. I really want Kamir's. That'll be next. But and up there we have, like, on the blue one on the right, that's like we said, one of the ones, it's not a really specific character, it's just one of those hilts that just kind of comes out. There is probably my most prized. It's the Darth Maul double saber. It's really nice. It's by far the nicest one that I got. And then over there is my favorite Jedi, Qui-Gon's. And I just, they're really cool. It's another thing I didn't mean to be collecting, but they're awesome, and like they're just so well made now. Like you said, like they're just, it's like you're holding the real thing in your hand, and it's just like I'm living in an era of what I was dreaming about in middle school. You know, like I never thought I'd be holding anything like this. I was holding toys, but now it's like holding lightsabers.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with those toy ones you can get that you used to be able to get from the store, where you just hold a button down and flick your wrist. Those were awesome.
Yep, that was great. And a lot of them, like I was still young enough to enjoy it when they made them like combat ready, like durable. Yeah. Like they didn't light up, but you could. They had a button where they stayed in unless you click the button, and then they come out and they are tough. Like you could rip into your friends. It was great.
I still have mine in storage, good. But I still have mine.
Good. Yeah, same. I got a couple down there. It's great. All right. That was my number 2? I'm losing count.
Yeah.
So what's your number 2?
My number 2 is my Black Series Mando Din Djarin helmet.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is probably one of the coolest helmets I have. Actually, one of the coolest helmets. I can't say that they're all amazing helmets, but this is my first like Black Series helmet. I'll just say that, my first Black Series helmet. My another birthday present. This one's from my wife. Thank you. But I love this thing, and I never wanted to take it off as soon as I got it.
Oh no, you can't. Like it.
You can't take. And
changes your life.
And I've actually went ahead because I plan on using this for a cosplay in the future. Before I don't want to go and buy like another helmet, but I've went ahead. If you can see, I've already started padding it.
Oh yeah.
So I plan on doing some modifications I've seen. Put a fan in there, and maybe a speaker system so I could speak out of it.
They do look really cool.
They do. But Black Series Din Djarin helmet, my number 2.
Boom. Yeah. The fan, I will tell you, leading up into my number 2, the fan is a key piece if you are planning to be anywhere within like more than like an hour, because it was I did a Comic-Con and cosplay and it was rough. I made it an hour and a half and I was coated, just dripping. It wasn't even that hot. It was just like the outfit underneath. This has to be here. I'll just pull it up. This is my number 2. I am building a Mando cosplay, like Marty, and it's I'm aiming for 501st approval. I still have some fixes to make. Hopefully going to get to that by the end of the year. But yeah, I've taken this current version to a Comic-Con, and just like the can I zoom in here? Yeah. I don't know if you could see the material of this outfit, but it's really thick, and it's just the flight suit and there's a vest that goes on top of it. I forget what it's called, but it goes on top of it and it doubles up the layering, and then you add on all these are resin armor for me, and there's none of your skin is exposed. Like that's like the whole point. It's supposed to be like almost a pressurized thing, and so it's just walking around like that is just so warm. But anyway, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I would say for people listening and watching, where did you get your stuff from? Like in case they want to like replicate.
Oh yeah, sorry. I did not describe what I just pulled up here. I have a full Mando cosplay it's more or less finished. Like when you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, that's a whole Mando. There's just a few little details that I need to switch to get it approved for 501st. Like I need to repaint the shin a different color, and I need to like make the cape a little more weathered and things like that. But so this all came from different vendors. So sorry, I guess that's the clearest, isn't it? Okay, I'll use this one. So the flight suit and the vest. How close can I go here? The flight suit and the vest came from Leather Fashion Valley. It's a vendor overseas. I don't remember exactly where, but it was awesome. That was one of the first pieces I got. And it came with the bandolier too, and not the bandolier, the cummerbund. Under there, kind of the orange bit you see, and I got a different ab pad from just someone on Facebook Marketplace that didn't need it anymore, and then the silver armor I got from Marcus Studio Props. If you're writing this down, Marty, I will send you all of this. I promise.
Okay, good.
I will just message it to you. It's fine. This is the Mattel Grogu toy. I found the Grogu bag on Etsy. I think I found the original gloves on Amazon, but I think the maker of the armor also made the glove pads that I replaced with them. For the leather works here, like the bandolier and the shin piece down here, and for this, there's a nice lady that lives in Italy named Deborah Di Maio that made all of that extremely high quality leather stuff. is higher end, so be prepared to pay higher end prices, but it is the best that exists. And then the boots I got from Crow Props. I thought about doing boot covers, and then they're great. And then the cape I think I found on Etsy as well. But yeah, it's it took a while to build and fit together, but I think from where I started, I'm very pleased with it. It looks really cool. I'm excited to make these last minute changes. One of the changes was that I had to weather the armor a little bit, and I was like, oh, because I love how it looks so shiny. I'm hoping I can kind of do like a minimal effect so that it's there, but I really like the shiny look. So whoops.
Yeah.
So I hope
do people stop and take pictures with you?
Oh yeah, like back when the show was newer, there were definitely more than one Mando at each con. You'd see dozens, but now it's kind of like it hasn't been out there for a while. Like we haven't heard new things for a while, and so there were other Mandos that were there for like the Mando Mercs stuff, and they were like trying to take a picture, and but they were other Star Wars cosplayers were like, let's get a picture, and like kids like I really liked when they were kids who were like, Grogu, like there was Mando and Grogu, and they were like, they're here. That was the best. But yeah, like I said, I don't have a fan in there, and I was just a sweaty mess like after 45 minutes, if that. Like it's tough, and I know it all looks like it's all put together pretty well, but it's mostly Velcro, and I need more Velcro is what that boils down to. It's not, yeah, I don't know how they do it in the action scenes of the movie, but it's not it's hard to keep everything together. But I like to do these photo shoots. I like to mash up these photo shoots. Like I have one with a Pokeball, I have one with the Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts, I have one with the Captain America shield and Thor's hammer, and I like to do those. I think they're fun, nerdy things. But anyway, Star Wars cosplay, or this Mando cosplay, definitely one of my top, if not the top Star Wars thing that I own. By far the most expensive, but I'm pretty proud of how I got it, how I put it together, how my wife and I have worked on that for many hours. So, yep. Anyway, show me your jewel, your crown jewel of your collection.
All right. I mean, I would say this is the crown jewel. I still can't find that one, but this is still pretty cool, and it feels like it kind of flows in with what we were just talking about. Yeah. But for anyone, so this is what I got for people who are just listening. It is a 8 by 10. I would have. No, actually, no, it's bigger than that.
I'm going to remove myself so that we can see you better.
Oh. So this is a autograph photo of Din Djarin from season 1 pre-Beskar. Stupid thing. Here, I'll just move that, see if it'll work. A little bit better, maybe. There we go. All right. So anyone who can listening, it's an autograph of Din Djarin season 1 pre-Beskar, but it's got 2 autographs on it. Unfortunately, none of it's Pedro Pascal, but I do have it with Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder, who were also in the Mando outfit. Brendan was mostly doing the walking and everything that's not action when they didn't have Pedro Pascal. And Lateef Crowder was the stunt guy for Mando in the suit.
Yeah. The stunt guy doing things in that suit, like even just walking around in that suit is hard for me. Just the way that you have to walk, like doing, I mean, I'm sure his is much more reinforced than what I've got going on, but the idea of doing any type of action, anything in that suit is just not appealing to me at all. At least not like logistically. So I that was not an easy job there. So that's really cool. Yeah, I need some autographs. That's the one memorabilia part that I am missing. I don't usually shell out for that part of Comic-Con. We just kind of walk around and but
Right.
if there was ever like a Hayden and Ewan McGregor showing at a Comic-Con, I think that would be the time.
I'm actually Hayden will actually be at this Galaxy Con that I'm going to in December, and he is the big one that I'm wanting to get.
Yes, that's he's the dream.
These aren't the only ones though. I actually have Giancarlo Esposito with his with his Moff Gideon picture, and he's got two of the robotic death troopers behind him.
Yes, those were terrifying.
Oh yeah, those were.
How after Din has that really difficult fight with one, and then he just shows up with 10 more. It's like, bruh. Yeah. Anyway, that's our top 3. Pretty cool stuff. I think I'm pretty proud of us. I think we have some cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think the dream eventually is, once there are no kids living here anymore, I'm gonna have a Star Wars room. It's going to happen. It's going to have a couch in it. It's going to have a movie, like a theater, not a theater, but it's going to have a big old TV in it. It's going to be, I'm going to get those, those Death Star panels that you can get on the light up panels. I'm going to get some of those, and I'm going to be really sad that the kids are gone, but I'm going to pour all of that emotion into building the most epic Star Wars room that has ever existed.
That's how you do it.
So it's going to be my retirement project.
Mine will be to have a Rancho Obi-Wan myself. That is my dream goal right there. I know it'll never happen, but I would love it.
All right, so that was our top 3. Good for us. I think that was a good showing. We're gonna move on to our main discussion point of the show, which is this is episode 7 right now. Oh, before you put that helmet away, I think Halloween's coming up. We should do an episode. We should find a way to talk with some sort of costume or helmet on, because I
got Rex. I would love to use that one.
Oh yeah, I got a Rebel pilot helmet. I could probably figure out how to put headphones and speakers and stuff in.
Yeah. All
right. Cool. Good plan. Glad we discussed that on the air in front of everybody. It's definitely going to be a surprise. So yeah, happy Halloween. So episode 7. This is our 7th episode, and in honor of that, and in honor of the fact that we have not really talked about the sequel trilogy much, I wanted to make this episode 7 about Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, because I know I have really vivid memories of that show, or that movie coming out, going to the theater and everything surrounding. And I still have thoughts about that movie and that trilogy. So I don't know where you want to start. Take it away. What do you remember about? What's the first thing you remember about hearing about episode 7?
I think really the first thing is the hearing about it. It's actually going to happen. I think it wasn't far too long after Disney announced that they have acquired Lucasfilm, that they're going to be starting on a sequel trilogy. And then so that kind of burst a lot of hype on who's going to direct it, who's going to star in it. Is it going to be based off of certain novels? Is it going to be original? What's the deal? What's going to happen? And then we start to learn more and more about what this movie is about. And then I'd say into that 2015, the market hype was real. I will tell you what, you couldn't walk in it was kind of like the Phantom Menace a little bit, maybe not as much, but you still had a lot of displays of toys of everybody, books. It was crazy. And then the movie came out, and I took my wife and I went to go see it. We were still in college. We were when it came out, and I was blown away. I enjoyed it. At first I was a little skeptical. I was like, this feels familiar. But the more I watched it after it released, I grew to enjoy the characters and the story. It became its own.
Yeah, I think I was playing so many like I said, I got into it hardcore into it after episode 2 came out, and I was playing all the video games and all this stuff, and every source everywhere was saying like there's no more Star Wars. It was all about the Skywalker saga and that's over. So there's no more Star Wars. And I thought it was going to be done forever. And that was sad, but it is what it is. And then this news comes out. Like I didn't hear, I wasn't tuned in enough to know the details of like, oh, Disney's taking over this or anything like that. But the fact that there was a new movie coming out, and J.J. Abrams was directing it, and I had recently seen that Star Trek movie that he directed, and it was good. Like I'm not a Trekkie by any means, but like I enjoyed watching the action of that Star Trek movie. Like this, everything. He knew how to make a space action movie at the very least, and so I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. I mean, it was Star Wars. I was always going to give it a shot, but you're right. They exploded the marketing, the toys, there was obviously the trailers, just the imagery and the ads everywhere of like, oh, new Star Wars coming out, and I remember a really funny trailer. I probably should have looked this up, but there was a really funny trailer where it was like if George Lucas directed The Force Awakens. The movie hadn't even come out yet. It was just one trailer that had been circulating everywhere, and it had BB-8 moving, and it just showed some of the characters. It showed Kylo's lightsaber clip at the end in the snow. That's where we first saw that it had like the crossguard blades there. And someone made a parody, like, you know how they used so much CGI in the prequels, and George Lucas was all about that CGI right in that window where you didn't know how to use CGI yet or how much to use CGI yet. And someone made a trailer where it was like if George Lucas was directing The Force Awakens, and they just put CGI stuff everywhere, all over that trailer. Just an unnecessary amount of like CGI Rontos and lots of extra blades coming everywhere, lots of extra laser bolts, lots of extra characters like just created by CGI. And it was the funniest thing. Maybe I'll try and find that for next time. And then I saw it in theaters, and I remember watching the end scene on the first of all, I always identify with the pilots. So the fact that there was like a star stud pilot in this, I was already into like Jedi Starfighter and all the piloting games and all the space missions on everything. I was like, oh yeah, I'm a pilot. And so the fact that there's like this hotshot pilot that can just like go into this little thing and blow up the thing from the inside and then escape, like that was like, it was so good when he's like, or early when he's like, I can fly anything. I'm like, yeah, you can, Poe Dameron. And I remember sitting in the theater watching the snow scene where Kylo Ren is fighting Rey and Finn, I guess, with the lightsabers, and I was like, oh man, feels like this movie's gonna end soon. I don't want that. I don't want it to end. I want to know more. I want to see more.
Right.
So I don't know. It was great. I like how they kind of one at a time. Well, I guess 2 for the first one, brought back Luke or Han and Leia. Did hurt to see Han die.
Spoiler
alert from this 2017 movie or whatever. But yeah, it did hurt. Wasn't ready for that, but I feel like, I don't know. I expected all 3 of them to die at some point if they're bringing them back. Bringing back those actors. Really cool that all those actors were on board to come back.
Right. Although I think I'm blanking, Harrison Ford, I think he had that stipulation. He's like, you better kill me. And they're like, okay, do it.
I didn't know that.
I think so. I think that was a stipulation. He's like, if I come back, just kill me already.
I know that his attitude towards Star Wars, I definitely remember seeing interviews where somebody would be asking him questions about like, do you agree with what they've done in this Star? He's like, I don't know, man. I've never seen them. So it's so funny. It's like, I'm Indiana Jones. I don't have enough time to just be watching movies. Like, you don't know anything about the lore. He just like does his Clint Eastwood stuff and he gets paid.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta go do Indiana Jones and 7, like, or do he's in a Marvel movie now, right? He's in the
Yeah.
the
He's
new
in
Captain America thing coming out.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think people try to ask him questions about that. He's like, I don't know. I just showed up to set. They told me what to do.
Yeah, love it. I memorized my lines, whatever.
Right.
So let's shift to the like the criticisms. Like, first of all, what did you think about the movie back then? What do you think about it now? Like, what do you think about the criticisms or in general? Like, what have you heard?
Okay. I'll start at the beginning, I guess, with my initial thoughts when I first saw it. I liked it, but it felt at that time, and I still feel it a little bit, but not as much because it still has a story of its own, but it felt like A New Hope. I'm sure a lot of people have said that too. It felt like it to me. But it also had its own different story to tell within that. I think maybe it was just the story beats felt familiar, and maybe a desert planet and then a huge destroying planet destroyer might be somewhat similar, but it grew on me. I've come to enjoy that movie a lot. I want to watch it more than I should have, that I do already, because there's nothing. Where was I going with this? I just enjoy this movie more. I've grown to appreciate it. It's still, I would say, it's maybe my second favorite out of the sequel trilogy. But yeah, the initial comments like Rey marries Sue, like, what was Luke when we originally saw him? What's so different about Rey than Luke? Is it just because of the gender? That was another thing. Was like back then the gender about the main characters were, and even the race were just like very critical by these so-called fans. Like, why is this woman a lead in the Star Wars movie? Like, excuse me, why not?
Yeah.
Right? And so, and it's still to this day, it's like people are still trying to call Rey a Mary Sue even after all 3 of the movies came out. I'm like, I guess you just don't understand Star Wars, or at least the sequel trilogy,
Or Mary Sue's,
or Mary Sue's. Yeah, what's the male equivalent to Mary Sue?
Ooh,
Bobby Joe.
oh yeah, good. I was going with like a Michael something. Yeah, no, that's better. Bobby
Yeah,
Joe.
yeah. That's
like
let's say that's what Luke was in Episode 4.
Yeah,
He was a Bobby
100%
Joe.
was. There's no reason for him to be, and he's like supposed to be like the most powerful Jedi ever, like extended universe lore wise, right? Like he goes on to do some crazy freaking stuff, and he started his training when he was way too old. He's blown up Death Stars when he's way too old. Like he blew up that Death Star using the Force. How many days after he learned what the Force was?
Right? like 2-3 days maybe?
Right. And who blew up Starkiller Base? It wasn't freaking Rey in an X-Wing. It was Poe Dameron. And
it felt a little more grounded there.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense.
There's a whole, I may or may not have written an article about this on Culture Slate that eventually might go into the whole thing. that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I think yeah, those are the criticisms that I've heard. I'll skip the Mary Sue one for now, but I definitely have heard criticisms of like, oh yeah, it just mirrored the plot of A New Hope. But then I've also heard, like, on the flip side, I've also heard arguments of like, or complaints of like, oh, it doesn't even feel like Star Wars. It's just so different. So if you have complaints that it's too different, and then you have complaints that it's too similar, there's no way. The conclusion I draw from that is that there was no way for them to make everyone happy, and that's what I've
Oh no.
thought ever since Star Wars came back with Disney. There's no way, not with Disney, not just anybody. After that long of a gap from like what 2007, 2008. When did Episode 3 come out?
See, 2005.
2005. It was 01, 03, 05, right? Yeah, 2005. With that big gap between 2005 and 20 whatever Episode 7 came
15.
out, there was no way for anyone, no matter who was making the movie, there was no possible path that anyone making that movie could have taken that would make all fans happy. There's going to be, and now people have podcasts, people have YouTube shows, people have really loud, yeah, hey, what's up? Hey, I'm on. And that can just say loudly whatever they want and just make up criticisms no matter which direction. If they feel like saying, oh, it's too different, they can say it's too different. If they were like, oh, it's too similar, they can say whatever. It's just there was too much time in between, and there was too much.
Well, what was the gap between Jedi and Phantom Menace? Wasn't that like a seemingly same amount of gap?
Yeah, probably.
to 99.
But the internet landscape was way different. You didn't have a YouTube platform in 2001 that had 3 million followers. You know what I'm saying? So there was no unified space for all these people to like glob onto toxic, nonsensical ideas as a group. They could each have like, oh, I didn't like this part, or oh, I didn't like this part. For instance, The Last Jedi, I really did not like when Leia is zooming through space with the Force. I really did not like that. I will complain about that to anyone who will listen. If you're gonna have her survive in a different way. But I'm not gonna message Carrie Fisher being like, this is, and I'm not gonna make it my whole personality either. I'm just gonna be like, oh, I didn't like that part. All right. And that's what everyone probably did with the prequels. Like, but they were more, it was more concentrated and more diverse, and everyone was just kind of like, oh yeah. And but I do know that there was a giant movement of hate towards the child actor of Episode 1, which again is a giant problem when people shift from critical fans to just straight garbage humans. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Episode 7. But yeah, those were the I did hear about like, yeah, it's just another big Death Star, which yeah, it did kind of feel like that. But maybe that was on purpose to kind of show parallels of like, hey, they stamped out evil, they thought, but turns out you can't really do that all the way, and you have to keep on top of it, otherwise it'll grow again.
It almost kind of feels like the people who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
Kind of scenario.
Yes, that's perfect. Like whatever was happening with the New Republic, you know, what we're learning about now, like with the Mandoverse and the Ahsoka show, like the New Republic is far from perfect, and there are gaps that, like that transition of power, there were gaps there that led to the First Order rising. And like there's that character in that Maz Tanaka. I
Yeah,
don't remember her last
Maz
name. But
Kanata. Yeah, oh yeah.
Maz Kanata, yeah. And she even said, like, the dark side has many forms. I saw it in the Sith, I saw it in the Empire, and now I see it rises again in the First Order. And like, she's one of the wise ones who sees it and when it's rising. And you know, the Jedi weren't good at preventing it. The New Republic obviously wasn't that good at preventing it. So maybe Rey's Jedi will be better. Third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. It only takes, I don't know how many generations now.
Yeah, right. All right. So to close this discussion off, what is your favorite part about The Force Awakens?
My favorite part, and it's kind of cliched, but I kind of actually enjoyed the lightsaber battle between both Kylo Ren and Finn and Kylo Ren and Rey. Just because they used a newer lightsaber way of like presenting it on screen instead of like those sticks like they had in the prequels. They actually had glowing lights to actually reflect and, you know, use on with each other to make those shadows or lights, I should say, reflections. I just thought it was pretty neat, and it kind of, people complained about it. It's like, well, how is she so good at the fighting with a lightsaber when she's never held one before against Kylo Ren, who has? One, I think he was kind of taking it easy. Two, she has a staff. I'm sure she's fought with several times. I think she knows how to handle a weapon.
Oh yeah,
but just how slow and aggravating it just felt. I don't know. That was my favorite scene.
Yeah, I had a thing actually in my Rey Mary Sue article. I brought this up too. So they make a huge deal out of showing throughout the movie how powerful Chewie's crossbow is, right? They have that whole scene when Han and Chewie and Finn are all fighting the stormtroopers on Takodana near Maz's place. They have that whole scene where it's like blowing up stormtroopers. It's like blowing up the ground. Stormtroopers are going flying, and they make this whole comedy scene of Han being like, "Can I borrow that? I've never really tried that." And then he's like, and stormtroopers go flying, and it's like, wow, I really like this thing. They make a huge deal about how powerful the crossbow is, right? So,
right,
Kylo Ren takes a kidney shot from that crossbow. He just goes, it's right here. He goes, and it knocks him down. Like, first of all, Chewie, aim for the head. But second of all, like, he is, number one, it's showing his power. Like, he's not a mere stormtrooper that is just decimated. He takes that somehow to the kidney and is still walking. And that in itself, based on the cinematic structure that they've shown us already, that in itself is a miracle. But
yeah,
then he's also having a lightsaber battle with two people who are like fresh. And yes, Finn is not trained. He beats Finn pretty easily. But then Rey is also not trained, but she can touch the Force. And especially when she's touching it like calmly, when she's like, oh yeah, the Force. There is Palpatine blood flowing through her. She has an innate connection to the Force. And not only that, you can see how she, like, it was already established that she is approaching the Force from a very calm standpoint, a very defensive standpoint. And then that would obviously be very frustrating for, like, it. If you watch the movie, it absolutely makes sense that he couldn't beat her in that moment with how she was just coming into her own through the Force, like beginner's luck, whatever. And how he had been fighting all day. He took a kidney shot from the most powerful blaster weapon in the movie. I don't see the confusion there. There's not. I don't see how that, if you are listing that as a valid criticism of, oh, this makes no sense, then I'm going to lose respect for your opinion because it means you're not paying attention. Sorry.
I do like though, after he takes that kidney shot, he uses that to help kind of conjure the dark side in him by smacking it every now and then.
Yeah. He's like, oh, this pain gives me anger. Yeah. Like Darth Vader's suit. Yeah. I think that's good. It shows like beyond all that I just said, it shows that the dark side isn't as powerful as the light side. When Rey is just like, calm defense, blah, 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 blah. It's great.
Yeah. What's yours? What's your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is when Poe and the Resistance come flying in on the X-Wings over the water. Like, all hope was lost. I don't know where this movie's going. And then the Resistance comes in, and I was like, I know Han's gonna die. If I have to watch Chewie die, Han and Chewie die together, I'm not gonna be okay. And then at the last minute, Resistance comes in through the wall, and then like the first time I saw it, I didn't recognize Poe. Like, I thought Poe was dead. I didn't recognize Poe when in his helmet. But then the second, like after I realized that it was him, like kind of like retcon, I not retcon, but I forget the word. I had some wine. But they once I realized afterward that it was him, I really like that moment where they show in one camera shot how his X-Wing is just flying around, killing like 5 TIE fighters, like in a small spot of time, in like no space at all to maneuver. He's just like zooming around. Oh, I'll kill this one. Oh, can I help my buddy out over here? And they go there. And then Finn's like, that's a hell of a pilot. And once afterward, now knowing it was Poe, I'm like, that's my guy. Let's do this.
Yeah, because he always claimed to be the best, and you never got to see it until then. And you're like, oh yeah, he really is. He really is.
And then in the very beginning of The Last Jedi, you get to see it too. But we'll save that for episode 8.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's The Force Awakens. If anybody has any thoughts they want to add for The Force Awakens, throw them in the comments. Throw them wherever. But I started watching it yesterday to prepare for this, and we got like 30 minutes in, and pretty much now that we're talking about it, that's all I'm thinking about. After this podcast, I'm just gonna plop in front of the TV and finish it. It's good. It's so good. So we're gonna move on to our next segment here, Culture Spotlight. We're gonna go musical in the honor of John Williams' documentary, but we're actually gonna focus on a different artist. His name is Samuel Kim. I actually don't know a whole lot about his other compositions, like what else he does, unfortunately, but I am obsessed with all of his Star Wars music. Almost everything that I see with his name on it has the words epic version after it. So he takes themes from Star Wars, other movies, other famous tunes. Like I saw some classical music on there, like really famous classical tunes, and he creates epic versions of them. So I'm gonna play a little segment of the Star Wars the Rise of Skywalker theme epic version here. Marty, just give me a nod if you can hear it, just to make sure that it still works. Anyway, he does stuff like that. Like if that doesn't get your blood pumping, I don't know what will. But he has a whole Star Wars repertoire. He has plates here. Let me start over. And then it goes. I'm so hyped. It's like, what time is it? It's 8:05 p.m. I have 4 kids. I should not be this excited at 8:05 p.m. I should be exhausted, but this music just does it. It's so good. But he has
to break things.
Yes, it was with lightsabers. And it's just it's just so epic. I get if I need energy in the car, I will hype myself up with this stuff. I also wanted to draw attention to this other playlist that he has. I didn't even realize it was him when I first stumbled upon it, but it's medieval Star Wars tracks. And let me show you what I mean. So it's Star Wars music, but if it was like medieval instruments. Come on. Here's the Imperial March.
Nice.
It's so silly. It's so great. I like this one a lot. Let me get to the main one. Almost. Little flute action. It's great. Oh. Pretty sure there are like vocals back there too that just make it even better. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to drop in for the culture spotlight. A little off the beaten path there, but I'm sure if you've heard any epic versions of anything, you've heard a Samuel Kim arrangement.
It's giving me ideas for next week's spotlight. I got something similar musically that is a little different for some people's taste, but it's still epic. So and listening to this the medieval Star Wars for some reason makes me want to go play Kingdom Come Deliverance and just start whacking people.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that game. Haven't heard those three words together in a minute. Anyway, look up Samuel Kim. I especially recommend the medieval Star Wars music, but the epic versions of everything are also obviously top tier. So let's move on to our last segment of the evening. As always, Star Wars trivia. I'm just gonna sit back on my laurels because I got 5 out of 5 last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago. So I'm just gonna not put too much pressure on myself. So take it away, Marty.
All right. Before we begin, Ian, did you play last week's video?
I did not. The thing about that is that I was at the beach and did not really pay attention to my phone almost at all. So props for putting that together. I am glad that you came up with something to fill that week that we were gone, but I did not play. Is it bad? Should I not?
I mean, there's 10 questions. There's 10 questions. 2 legends.
8 canon, 2 legends.
8 canon, 2 legends.
Right.
There is an audio issue I thought was fixed. Like everything looked good, sounded good. I exported it, put it up, and then I went to go back to watch the live myself. And one of the questions on the screen is correct, but the audio played question 1. I was like, oh no.
Whoops.
And I got a comment about that. I was like, I'm so sorry. Editing, I don't know what happened. But if you could read the question, that's all that matters, and answer there. But yeah, 10 questions. If whenever you get a chance, go play it. Come back, tell me how you did.
Yeah. Right. I'll play that by next week. I'll let you know. 4 out of 10.
Awesome.
That's my guess. So anyone who's playing along, feel free to write the answers in the comments. And then at the end, just, honor system, say how, like, if you read the comments and other people are going to tell what they think is the answer. So just honor system. Like, let us know how you did at the end. I usually average about a 3 or a 4. I got 5 once. We'll see if I can repeat that back. So here we go.
By the way, do you like the new logo for our trivia?
I do. I was about to say, I like it.
I started using it for our video last week. And I was like, you know what? This is going to go on permanently now.
Excellent. Yeah, I like it. Very clean.
All right. And without further ado, question number 1. Grogu and Rey share what force power? Is it A, psychometry, B, healing, C, barrier, or D, taming?
I have a thing about this to say afterwards. I know the answer, but I have a thing about this to say afterwards. Fun fact.
Okay.
Fun memory.
Fun memory. And I remember when both of these came out around the same time. I was like, coincidence? I think not.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was going to say.
All righty. Moving on to the second question. Question 2. Chirrut Imwe and Baze Malbus were formerly guardians of what? A, the Force, B, the Galaxy, C, the Wills, or D, the Ninth Door?
2 for 2, baby. Chirrut Imwe is one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars.
Oh, I love him.
This is my favorite movie of Star Wars.
Let's see. Question number 3. Who did Yoda encounter on the Force planet, the Wellsprings of Life? Was it A, Qui-Gon Jinn, B, Dark Yoda, C, Force Priestesses, or D, Sifo Dyas?
Appropriately, this is my least favorite season of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The first half was good.
Yeah, agreed. First half was good. Second half, I generally just skip that in my viewings.
All right.
3 for 3, baby.
Question 4, your Legends question for everyone who's listening. The Yuuzhan Vong War began in the year A, 25 ABY, B, 12 ABY, C, 150 BBY, or D, 25 BBY?
Okay. All right. I got it. I think I got it.
All right. All right. And our last question for the night.
Yes.
Question 5. What was the name of Darth Vader's Super Star Destroyer after the Battle of Yavin? Was it A, Ravager, B, Executor, B, Arbitrator, or D, Eclipse?
You said B twice, but I know you meant C, Arbitrator. Yes.
C. Yeah, sorry. C, Arbitrator.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
a little excited because
it's all about number 4 for me.
I got a little excited, carried away, because usually when I was recording, I had a similar question with the same arrangement of answers, and I, for some reason, couldn't say Executor. It always came out wrong, so I had to stop and re-record. So I got it done first try. Thank you.
Yes.
Good job, me.
Whenever I see that word and the word of the Pokemon, Executor, I am just super confused about which one to say which. I don't know. Like, so I don't know to this moment. Is it Executor?
Yes.
Okay. Executor. All right, cool. I'll look up the Pokemon later.
All right. And here are our questions, or our answers. Number 1 was B, healing. 2 was C, the Wills. 3 was C, Force Priestesses. 4 was A, 25 ABY. And 5 was B, Executor.
Yeah, it was. That's 5 out of 5, baby.
And how many did you guys get correct? Please let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I remember the Mandalorian was going on the season. The first season of the Mandalorian was ongoing when during the weekend of the initial release of The Rise of Skywalker, and the episode on Wednesday that came out of the Mandalorian before the Thursday night or whatever release of Rise of Skywalker. That Wednesday episode of The Mandalorian showed Grogu using Force Heal, and that's the first time we've ever seen Force Heal in live action. And so I wanted, because I was in Disneyland or Disney World for kind of a Disney birthday trip at the time, and I remember I like not everybody was quite as nerdy as me. So at the late at night when we got back to the hotel, I whipped out my iPad and I watched that episode because I was like, I'm supposed to have seen this. I'm not going to see Rise of Skywalker in the theater this weekend without making sure I'm up to date on all the other stuff that's come out. So I remember Grogu healing. Who was it? Freaking what's his name?
It was
Magistrate somebody. He wasn't
Grief
Magistrate
Karga
yet. Grief Karga. He force healed Grief Karga, right? And then that weekend, like 3 days later, I went and we saw Rise of Skywalker, and we saw Rey force heal the creature, and then we saw Kylo Ren force heal Rey. And it's like through the show and the movie, they established this new thing that now exists in canon live action Star Wars. It was a very cool little consideration there. Also, for question number 4, oh, sorry.
I was going to say, and the other ones were actual real force powers too. The psychometry was what Quinlan Voss and Cal Kestis had, where they touched an object and feel and see what happened around that object.
Oh, okay.
And then
barrier, I think, was self-explanatory, right? A little force barrier.
Yeah. I think that one was also used in Fallen Order. I think as another power. I think, and then the taming one obviously is what Ezra does to all the animals.
Yeah, I think Grogu might have that, but I don't think we have necessarily seen Rey have that, because Grogu tamed the Rancor, right?
Yep, that's true. Yeah, he did.
But I don't know if we saw that with Rey. Like, she tamed that beast because she could heal him, but I don't know if that's not quite enough. The Yushan Vong, all I did was math. I was like, all right, 2 of these are before the Battle of Yavin, so I know it's not them. And then I was picturing it way later than 25 years after. I thought it was like hundreds of years after. So I just picked the latest date you had on there.
What was the one you got wrong?
I didn't get one wrong.
Oh, you didn't get one wrong? Another 5 out of 5?
I got 5 out of 5.
All right, man.
2 in a row. No, you don't need to make more. All right. So anyway, that is our show. We hope you enjoy what we're doing here. We know Star Wars fandom and comment sections can sometimes get dark and toxic, but it doesn't have to be that way. We are trying to bring fun and positivity to the Star Wars side of the internet. Remember, there are more of us. Again, if you have anything at all for us, questions, requests, suggestions for future segments, anything at all, throw them in the comments and we will see what we can do. Don't forget to follow us, Culture Slate, on all the platforms, Star Wars Culture on all the platforms. Also, you'll see our handles here, Nerdiest Stepdad. I'm also on all the platforms. Marty21794, that's his Insta handle. He's also on Facebook and Twitter. But join us again next week, 7 p.m. Eastern, to celebrate the best of Star Wars culture. And you have a good night.
Y'all have a good one.